Hi, in today's video, we're going to explore the answer to the question, how does social media affect athletes' mental health? Social media today is getting all kinds of publicity about its impact on teenagers. A lot of it is negative. So we're going to explore the answer to just what's going on with social media, any benefits you can get from it, but also the challenges that we need to be aware of and how it will impact not just athletes, but teenagers in general. In the first part of this video, we're going to explore the benefits of social media, what the purpose is behind it, and how it can actually help people in general, but student athletes in particular. Then we're going to look at some of the dangers, including the more and more exposure that you get. And three, we're going to look at the comparison trap that can come with all this exposure and constantly checking out the social media. Fourth, we're going to look at strategies that you can utilize so it won't impact your mental health negatively. And last, we're going to look at a real life example of how it impacted somebody's life. So using social media can have some benefits. One, if you're an athlete trying to get noticed and get recognized and find that right match for a coach, it offers some real opportunities that way, right? It offers you an opportunity to kind of brand yourself and to get word out there. That's one of the benefits of social media. You can also find other people as motivation, other people who are doing the same things or providing tips and examples of things that you can maybe do to improve your game or your performance. So there's all kinds of aspects of social media that could have positive benefits for any person, athletes in particular. However, there is that dark side of social media, and that is, one, it can put you into constant spotlight when other people will highlight all the things that maybe you did wrong or poorly. Something maybe embarrassing that happened in the course of a game or an event that goes viral because it was kind of humorous in other people's eyes. That spotlight that you can be put under, particularly for those who are excelling, right? The more you excel, the more under the spotlight you become, and the more chances there are for negative attention being drawn to you, or inside yourself feeling that you have to live up to this. And that kind of leads into this other trap of social media, which is this comparison trap, where you're constantly comparing yourself to somebody else you're seeing on social media. Somebody else got this time, somebody else hit a home run this far, somebody else had this many yards receiving, so whatever it is, right? You're constantly comparing yourself, and oftentimes what that is doing is putting more pressure on you internally because you're going, oh, I'm not performing as well as I think. And that is a deeply skewed view that comes from exposing yourself to social media and looking at it and following it more and more. So there's kind of this two-pronged aspects of social media. You getting word out about yourself, you paying attention to what's coming in too. Could both be positive, but it has both potential negative consequences if you aren't careful with how you manage it. So some of the strategies, one is to really become aware of how much you are using social media, how it is impacting you, not only impacting you like time-wise, like how much time are you spending on it, but emotionally, right? Are you finding yourself getting upset, carrying some negative emotions to something that you saw on social media? That self-awareness is hugely important, and a strategy for dealing with that is one I've mentioned in other videos, which is journaling, particularly using cognitive behavioral therapy, reflective journaling practices, something I kind of call that, because it's utilizing some cognitive behavioral therapy techniques in a journaling practice to help you manage your emotions and kind of get rid of some of these cognitive distortions that come about because of your exposure to this comparison trap and other things with social media. Practicing mindfulness and positive affirmations, constantly filling yourself with good stuff is incredibly important. The more exposure you have to the world and being out there, the more likely you are to get exposed to a lot of negative criticism, negative aspects, comparing yourself unreasonably, all those negative aspects of it. So you need to develop some strategies for doing that, for handling that properly. Anchoring is a third one, where you're constantly linking some external stimulus to positive emotions. Music's a powerful one. Using music to help change your state can be incredibly beneficial in dealing with the negative aspects of social media. An athlete who struggled with media attention and social media specifically was Naomi Osaka. She was a star tennis player, had won Grand Slam events, and in 2021 she gained international headlines when she withdrew from the French Open, citing mental health concerns. The constant spotlight and pressure from being in that spotlight, and the constant social media presence and people sharing things and getting into your life and personal life and all of that comes from being in that spotlight, from being an internationally known star athlete. And social media just exasperates that problem. All of that got to Naomi in 2021, and she had to step away. She didn't have that ability to deal with the emotions in a way that was able to allow her to compete and maintain that high level. After she took a break from tennis, she actually stepped back from social media completely, so that she wouldn't be negatively influenced by a lot of what goes on out there in that world of social media. Another real life example, a powerful example, is the case of Kenzie Hilton, who is a rising volleyball star at the University of Southern California. And like many teenage athletes and teenagers in general, she began to build up a social media following, and as her skill set improved and as she became more successful, her following grew and grew. But with the growth in her social media presence and the following that came with success on the volleyball court, came an increased criticism and negativity. People being critical first of her performance, but then also of her as a person, her private life. And as that negativity grew, Kelsey began to also get sucked into that comparison trap. And with all that being sucked into the negative world of social media and the comments and all that coming forward on her social media platforms, came increased anxiety and depression and mental health problems. And with that, decreased performance and increase in criticism, relationships began to suffer. She finally had to step away from the sport that she loved because she was struggling so much with her anxiety and her depression. Kenzie has now actually become a spokesperson for the dangers and to be so careful of social media and your connection to it as a young athlete and as a young person in general. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, check out the other videos, but also leave a comment. Tell us about your experiences with social media and the negative aspects and or positive aspects of social media. But if you're an athlete, how has that impacted you positively or negatively? Leave a comment. Let us know what you think.